Hello, I'm Persia.
And I'm Joey, and you are watching an Addictive Daughter Skype Nugget.
And today we are very excited to be speaking to our good friend Sean Patrick, who is the founder of the website That Guy Who Loves the Universe, which fuses spirituality with the modern world.
Indeedio. Hi, Sean.
Hey guys, I love you. I'm so excited to be speaking with you.
We're really excited to have you. We've known Sean for, literally since we started Addictive Daughter. So it's been a journey, and it's just really nice when we get to check in with him.
And I wish I got to see you more, so this is awesome.
Because you're up north, aren't you?
I am, up in Liverpool.
You're in Liverpool. Right, so can we begin, Sean, with where it all began for you? So could you tell us a little bit about your journey and how it's led you to the point that you're at now?
Yeah, so my journey, I did things a little backwards in regards to the conventional way people might find a spiritual path, because it's actually something that I was interested in from a very young age, reading self-help books, being interested in angels and spirituality. But I think when in my early 20s, I found that I still wasn't any happier just by having the knowledge of spirituality. And I think I lived my life, especially at the age of about 20, 21, in a really intense state of anxiety. And it wasn't until one day I was kind of having what I can only describe as a panic attack, where I literally had to just leave work that day and just storm home. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just freaking out. And it was then that I really kind of received this inner guidance, or I had this thought. I don't know what it was, but it just told me, this is where you fall down, but you want to stick around for your miracles. And it was kind of from that point onwards, my life began to unfold in a very different way. I began to try a lot of new things. I learned to set boundaries. I was kind of given this curriculum of, if you want to live a happier life, here's what you got to do. And it's from that point to now, which has been about 5 years, where I really do get to look back at myself and think, wow, I've come a long way. And through doing that, I set up That Guy Who Loves the Universe, which is an inspiration hub for people who necessarily don't want to be into spirituality and feel like they have to sit cross-legged and chant all day. But really, it just means that, you can be spiritual and go to Starbucks and have a very modern life, as I do. But, I still have this strong connection and belief of something else and something bigger which supports me. And I kind of can't help but believe in that because of the experience I had.
So you were talking about anxiety,
which
is something that both of us have really struggled with. I definitely would say that I'm more prone to anxiety, which is, I guess, more of a fear of the future. The depression tends to be, I think, more linked to the past, from what I understand. But how can you give us kind of 3 tips that can help the people watching this just lift them out of anxiety and depression when they're in it?
Yeah, of course I can. And firstly, just wanted to say, it's so interesting that when you meet a lot of quote-unquote spiritual people, because there's this fear about talking about things like anxiety and depression. It's almost like this obligation to be happy all the time. And it's not necessarily authentic, and we often then can, in the name of spirituality, deny our truth. And I think that needs to stop happening. I think if you went to a spiritual seminar, you'll find most people in that room are there because they're overcoming something like that, and that's a really safe place to be in. So in regards to the 3 tips that I'd give, the first thing would be to allow yourself to dwell within that spiritual space. Read some books, take a workshop, go onto YouTube and watch some videos. Because what's so fantastic is there's this spiritual belief that we're magnificent beings. And that's not a thought we've allowed ourselves to have very often. The thought we're often having is, I'm not good enough, I can't have enough, I don't do enough. But when you actually start to look into another world of who you are, that's really going to increase your self-esteem. Because you've been going around for the past 25 years thinking that you're worthless, you're no good, you'll never live up to anything, and all of a sudden you're like, well, actually there's another way I can think, and that is that I'm magnificent. And to kind of put it right down to earth terms, the sun always shines. It's only when the clouds are going to go in front of it, which is when you're going to start to feel down. And I really feel like that's how we are. We put the clouds in front of ourselves and block us from our true self, which is that magnificence. And it's allowing yourself to just have that thought. It's as simple as, oh, shit, I forgot, I'm quite magnificent.
Simply magnificent.
It's like, oh my gosh, I've been doing that thing where I've been saying that I was not good enough, but how wrong am I? I'm magnificent. So that's the first thing I'd say.
I was actually going to just say, what you mentioned is, once that we're on, on a spiritual path, like us three are, there can be that pressure almost to feel like I should be happy all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not real. Like, me and Joey were talking actually just before this call. Have you ever got that thing, we call it the morning dread? And you wake up in the morning and you just have this sense of dread and you don't know why. And I used to have that every single day. And since I've got in spirituality, meditating, blah, 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 it's much, much, much less. But it does still happen sometimes.
We used to have it a lot after hangovers. Well, during hangovers. But I've got to be honest, this morning, because we've had a long day of Skype Nuggeting today, and I woke up this morning and my first thought was anxiety. And I didn't feel good about getting out of bed. And it's that classic, like, get up and put your pants on. Like, get out of bed, get yourself some breakfast, and then it kind of, you focus your thoughts, and then it sort of slips away. But I was in anxiety this morning, and I practice this stuff every day.
And it's so, and it just happens, and it's like, don't take anxiety and depression so personally. Sometimes it just
that's so good.
Yeah, like, sometimes, I'm in an anxious place, and I'm like, oh, because this is happening to me right now, it will pass. The same way that, if I'm drinking a coffee, it's going to eventually run out. So I'm no longer going to, don't take it personally. And it's so interesting because I often ask people that I coach with, how many seconds in the morning do you give yourself before you start remembering all of yesterday's junk? And the answer is, it's sometimes like 2 seconds, you're on your iPhone, you're on your Facebook, you're checking everything. Morning dread, such a thing. But yeah, I don't tend to take it so personally anymore.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really good point 1. And point 2, Shawnee?
I would say to start meditating in any way that's comfortable for you.
Okay.
When I mentioned about that time of my life where I really got to explore spirituality, where I kind of went from being in that sadder, anxious state into where I am now, and meditation was really one of the core things which helped me. I was living in Hong Kong for half a year when I was 22, and I was invited to attend a meditation center there, which I was so excited to do because it was kind of trendy. I was going to go meditate and all these kind of things. And I arrived at the meditation center on this beautiful road in Hong Kong, this small orange building. And I went there and I met my meditation teacher, which was this beautiful Indian lady who was going to be my guru for the next few months.
Yeah.
And she asked me, why do you want to meditate? And I was like, well, what a silly question. Like, I'm here to quiet my mind. Isn't that what people do when they meditate? And I'll never forget what she said to me, because she kind of chuckled to herself and said, why would you want to quiet your mind? Meditation's not about quieting your mind. It's about remembering who you actually are. So she says, when I sit down to meditate, it's not to be quiet. It's not to have no thoughts. It's to remember that I am love, I am magnificence, I am bliss, I am peace. It's to remember that truth about myself, but it's not at all about, trying to have my mind be quiet. And the second tip she gave me on meditation, which I still practice today, is to not close my eyes. What we'd do is we'd focus on, there was a light in the wall, not similar to a fairy light, but just one. And we'd sit, get comfortable, no cross-leggedness. You just kind of slouch back, and you'd focus on that light and remember, I am love, I am peace, I am bliss. And it worked for me because it really got my mind focused. Some people, it works the other way. But for anyone who wants to try it the way that I know works for me, it's as simple as lighting a candle in your bedroom, and for 3 minutes, just focus on nothing but that light and allow yourself to kind of remember who you really are.
Almost like affirmations in your head. I've actually started doing that. I don't even know where I got it from. So it's weird that you're saying this.
Yeah.
When I've been meditating, I've just been saying things to myself like, I am grace, I am peace, I am love, I am beautiful, all that shit.
Yeah, and for people who are, I don't know, similar to us, where you are kind of living in a fast-paced life, it's not habitual for us to sit down and shut off thought. In fact, it can be counterproductive because you can start to get really angry and frustrated because you can't meditate right, which is crazy. So if you actually just say, this is not my time to be quiet, this is my time to be truthful, and you allow that to come to you, eyes open, focus on the light, download the thought, and that's how meditation has always worked for me. I look forward to it. Something I can do more, well, I say every day, but I do it more often than I don't, as often as possible. I love to meditate in that very digestible, fun way.
That's great.
I love that.
And you said you meditate mainly in your room. Can you do it when you're out and about?
Oh my gosh, definitely so. Like, if meditation is not about quieting your mind, but about believing, a more positive truth about yourself, you can do that when you're in the line at Starbucks. You can do that when you're sat on a bus. You can do that when you're walking to a meeting. All them things. It's checking in with who you really are, because you're probably going around 95% of the day with these crazy, not true thoughts about yourself. And that's actually the third point I was going to give, which is don't believe everything you think.
Third point. Nice.
Third point, don't believe everything you think, because we're going around, we're having these thoughts about ourselves, a lot of them negative. Oh my God, look at my thighs. Oh my God, I'm not good enough. Oh my God, I'm never going to get that job. Oh my God, he didn't call me back. And it's like, all them thoughts you don't have to believe. It's quite arrogant of us, actually, to think everything I think is true. But that's how we kind of go inhibiting the world. It's, I have the thought, he didn't call me back because he cheated on me. And then you start to believe that, and you have the experience of it happening. But how often do you say, is that true? I don't think that's true. And it's allowing yourself to free yourself from your thinking of, I'm not, like, who are we to think that everything we think is true? And when you, like I said, don't take your thoughts so personally either, the same way we said don't take your anxiety so personally. When it rains outside, it's not just happening to me, sometimes it just rains. When negative thoughts come to my head, they could just be coming. It might be nothing to do with me. And that's another point that I'm really passionate about spiritual guilt. Like, oh, I'm spiritual, I shouldn't be having these negative thoughts. But sometimes thoughts have us. We don't have all our thoughts. Sometimes they just have us, and they pass and they go. But like in the spiritual world, sometimes it's really scary to admit to having, unclean, impure thoughts. But sometimes you're not having them, they're just passing by. And without that attachment and that dread, they go, and you'll realise that you actually have a lot of great thoughts.
That's really nice. Something that you just reminded me of is, I don't know who told us this, but basically, if you're experiencing something very negative, and you're kind of putting out negative intentions, or basically, if someone's pissed you off, and you're going to send a really arsey text back, they said, do the opposite of what you...
I feel like I said this.
I don't think you were the original.
I feel like this was something that I said.
I think someone said old and wise said it, and Persia's taken it as right.
No, but I basically said, what I do now is, because I'm such an impulsive person, and like, say I get a text from someone that's a bit arsey, and like, my immediate response is, write something sarcastic and really back and like, get one up on them. So my thing is, do the opposite of what my impulse is.
Yeah. And that really works a lot of the time. I mean, you can't use that as a hard and fast rule, but actually, when you're feeling a bit aggy, the best thing to do if you want to strike out is actually, opposite, come from a place of love. Be gentle, be kind, and it diffuses it.
It throws them.
Yeah.
It's a really good point for you to say, this is the part where I would usually do that thing.
Yeah.
Observe yourself in that way. It's like, oh, this is where I get triggered, and I want to act in this way. I'm not going to do that anymore. And you just like, I kind of, just laugh at like the ego inside of you, so eager to have one up on somebody. So that's really good advice. Thank you, Persia.
Oh well, don't mention it, babe. Don't mention it. So literally 3 amazing points there. Just to recap. So number 1, it was to, I guess, explore the spiritual world, look at books or whatever interests you, so that you can really start to learn that you are magnificent, which will help to boost your self-esteem. Point 2 was meditate. Try with your eyes open, looking at a candle for 3 minutes, and affirming loving, kind thoughts, true statements about yourself. I am love, I am grace, I am peaceful, whatever you want. And number 3 was, don't believe everything you think.
Yes.
Okay, great. So moving on, our challenge, our to-do of today is we would like all the addicted daughters out there who are watching this video to write in the comments below, in the comments below this video. I can't read your writing.
I can't read my writing either. Something like
right below.
Okay, this is what you. Sean, you explain it. You explain it.
Okay, so when you really want to allow yourself to look at the areas in which you're not being your most loving self, you can really then begin to grow out of them. There's nothing good about, denying that I'm spiritual, I don't look into that, So if you actually ask yourself the question, who would I be if I no longer fill in the blank? So for me, it would be, who would I be if I no longer got worried every time they don't text back?
Yeah.
Who would I be if I no longer needed a reply to that email? Who would I be if I no longer got social anxiety every time I went for cocktails with friends? So you want to find out what that is and then allow yourself to think, you know, who would I be without that? You'd probably become someone who really startled and amazed you.
That is
fantastic.
beautiful. So we want you to write the question that is specific to you underneath in the comments.
Who would I be if
I no longer fill in the blank?
If I no longer ... over
fill in
to
the
you,
blank.
addictive daughters.
Yeah, and it could be really scary to write it in the comment below, but then there's a line in the Course in Miracles which says to laugh at the ego's tiny mad idea. So please write it down in the comments below. Don't be scared. It's a supportive community, and allow yourself to laugh at the ways in which you've been thinking so crazy about yourself.
And we'll do it as well.
I'll do it too. Who would I be if I no longer... what would your guys' response to that be? Who would I be if I no longer...
I've got to be honest. Mine would be, who would I be if I no longer felt certain that I was going to be cheated on? Because I hold on to that.
Yeah.
I'm an engaged woman, but I hold on to that from past relationships, and I obsess about it happening again, even though there's no sign that that's a reality.
I think mine would be similar-ish. Who would I be if I no longer had to make a drama out of every single situation that happens in my life, mainly around men?
Yes.
Because I am a drama addict through and through, and that is something that I find really difficult to give up, because it's such an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
We've added ourselves, now you guys have to do it as well.
Sure. What's yours?
Mine would be, who would I be if I no longer felt like I had to handle everything? So, who would I be if I allowed myself to not take on every task? That would be mine right now. You know, because
it can be different depending on where you are.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've got a lot going on right now in regards to tasks and meetings, etc.
Yeah.
And it's almost like there's this fear to drop the ball and to be there for every person. But, you know, who would I be if I didn't put that pressure on myself? Yeah, that's
something. Or if I allowed myself to say no.
Yes. Who would I be if I allowed myself to say no? Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. I love it. This has been amazing. Literally, we've got so much.
I love you guys. I'm so glad we had this chance to chat, because I miss you.
We miss you too. Where can people find you? Please let us know.
People can find me at thatguywholovestheuniverse.com.
Yes.
Or go over to Facebook and do a search for That Guy Who Loves the Universe, and you'll be able to find and follow me there.
Brilliant. And can people work with you? Are you coaching at the moment?
Yes, I'm working with clients one-on-one individually right now.
Bro.
And it'll be great to hear from new people. So feel free to get in touch. Everything you need to get in touch with me is either on my website or on my Facebook page.
Ace, and we'll post all your links below as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Love you guys. Have a great night.
You too. Big love.
Bye. Big love.
If you enjoyed this Skype Nugget, please do like it. You can subscribe to our channel, and please pass it on to any friends that you know struggle with anxiety or depression, because I think this is probably going to be a good one for them to watch. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a life nugget and a weekly dose of happiness and motivation straight to your inbox, sign up at addictive-daughter.com and join us and thousands of others in getting addicted to the good stuff today.